We bring you this special radio television broadcast in order to give you the very latest information on an amazing phenomenon.
From the files of Schlock and Awe, welcome to Natural Selection, the home of the DTV Creature Feature. Here are your hosts, Matty and Dave Wayne.
Don't you dare touch me! Stand back! No! No!
Hello and welcome to Natural Selection episode 11, the penultimate chapter in our Creature Feature quest. My name is Dave Wayne, and to my right is Matty Budrevich.
Hello.
Sharks. We haven't really spoken about them much, and today we're going to do 3 shark movies. Shark Attack 1, 2 and 3. We've shied away on purpose, really, haven't we? Because it's not really our cup of tea. We hate Sharknado. We hate the sort of multitude of shark-based goings-on.
To sort of pinch a phrase from the Anaconda booklet that we did for 88 Films, I think we live now in the age of the great white overload. And it's just got to a point where shark movies have become so wearisome, and so I can't personally get that excited about them anymore, especially the ones that frequently pop up on sci-fi and that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that there is bad in that cycle. We were talking just before we started about all the sort of multi-headed shark attack films.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. The mega shark stuff, they're pretty cool. But it just it seemed like we had nothing much to say about shark movies, considering how kind of culty they are already, I guess. You know, that there's already a massive sort of market share for people talking about shark stuff. But that aside, Shark Attack is an incredibly important entry in the direct-to-video creature features of the late 90s and early 90s. In fact, without it, we probably wouldn't have the cycle as it is today.
Yeah. But, I mean, when are we beginning here? Shark Attack 1 came out in 1999. But this whole kind of thing, I mean, Avi Gillerno was pretty much sort of penciling in things like this a few years earlier, though, wasn't he? He was 95, wasn't it, when he was first sort of mulling over this idea?
Yeah, so Shark Attack is the inaugural creature feature from a company we've talked about quite extensively before, New Image.
Yeah.
It was conceptualised by New Image's head honcho, Avi Lerner, as you say, in 1995. He was anticipating the sort of the monster wave of the 90s, where you had like Jurassic Park and Congo and things like that. And he wanted to do a shark movie. However, there was no market for shark movies in 1995. So he waited a while, and as luck would have it, Deep Blue Sea enters into production. So there's a mad scrabble to put Shark Attack together. Fast forward a little bit to the American film market in 1999. The finished Shark Attack, it sells like hotcakes. Obviously, as we said countless times before, Anaconda had happened. Lake Placid was, I believe that was on the cusp of coming out, as was Deep Blue Sea. And people were hungry for these giant creature features now, particularly a shark one, because distributors, they wanted to ride the wave of Deep Blue Sea, which was primed to become a big summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
So Shark Attack, it sells like bloody hotcakes at the American film market that year. It did so well, in fact, that New Image actually took out an announcement, in Variety, saying that their New Image Boffo box office or Boffo sales, something like that. And off the back of the sales for Shark Attack, that is what led directly to the greenlighting of Crocodile, Spiders, Octopus, Shark Attack 2 and all of their other sequels, because it just sold so incredibly well. So ultimately, without Shark Attack, we probably wouldn't be sat here talking about half as many creature features as we had done, as this was the film that really opened up the floodgates for direct-to-video and made-for-TV sort of creature features.
You're listening to Natural Selection, the home of the DTV Creature Feature.
In an island paradise Doctors search to find a cure for cancer, and the deadliest creature in the sea could hold the key.
Isn't Stephen McRae, Mr. Big-Time Shark Expert?
You know sharks have incredible immune systems, completely resilient to any form of disease.
But the experiment has gone too far.
I've never seen a metabolic rate that high. Its brain is fried. It must have reverted back to primal instinct. This thing thinks it's always hungry.
We found something strange in the blood.
A hormone.
It's a synthetic growth hormone.
12 confirmed shark attacks in 3 months.
They're out of control, Steven.
Now a relentless killer is more deadly than ever. And only one man can stop the terror.
I want to get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I'll be careful.
How do you think the hormone's getting into the shark?
Somebody's going through an awful lot of trouble to attract sharks to that lagoon.
You, of all people, should appreciate what I'm trying to do.
I want to stop you from playing God.
Technically, you were trespassing.
You're always missing the point.
The more sharks, the less people.
Casper Van Dien, Ernie Hudson, in a terrifying journey straight into the jaws of hell. Shark Attack.
Trailer there for Shark Attack. What did you think of this?
I like Shark Attack, but
Is it a big butt?
yeah, it can't. It's just all right, isn't it? I think out of that sort of new image cycle of Shark Attack, crocodile, spiders, octopus, blah blah blah, Shark Attack is most certainly at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, I think it pales. I mean, the amount of times I've seen octopus, spiders, and crocodile and their sequels compared to this is, I don't know, it must be 10 to 1. I watched it again a few nights ago and I could barely remember anything about it. I know I've seen it before, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think I'd be in much of a rush to watch it again after this. Yeah. I mean, when we did the first episode with spiders and co, I wanted to go home that night. I would have happily seen those films back to back or the sequels. But with this, I've just got there's no urgency. It was fine. It was fine. Yeah. It was damning it with faint praise, I know, but it just, to me, it felt too straight to be a creature feature. It felt as though it had ambitions of a station. Yeah. You know, they'd obviously seen Deep Blue Sea, and they wanted to create sort of a low-budget clone of that, but without any of the low-budget humour or kind of knowing winks and nods. Yeah, it lacks the cardinal flaw is that it lacks the overblown sense of spiders and all that. They sort of get crazier and crazier as they go along, whereas this Shark Attack's just very mechanical and very routine. It's not bad. It hits the right bases, but it's just sort of it's a car without an engine, I guess. No, you know, it maybe even something that you could say is a little soulless. As you say, with the story, it is basically it's the medical, we're going to find a cure type angle of Deep Blue Sea, whereas Deep Blue Sea was about Alzheimer's. Here they're trying to find a cure for cancer, and then it's got the sort of small town politics of Jaws, which is represented by Ernie Hudson's character. Yeah, because what have we got here? We've got Casper Van Dien, who's playing Stephen McRae, and he's heading over to Port Amanzi in South Africa to find out why his friend Mark DeSantis has been killed. Now, Mark DeSantis looks a lot like Casper Van Dien, and that really fucks me. But, of course, we know Mark DeSantis. He was Frank Zagarino's stunt double, wasn't he? Or body double. Yeah. He, just one of the sort of new image journeymen that be on the new image sort of books, just doing sort of odd things, odd jobs and stuff like stunts, body doubling. So he's dead. Van Dien, playing Steve McRae, lands in South Africa, so he's kind of got to find out what's what, because Mark, his deceased friend, had been conducting research on a spate of shark attacks in the area. And he sort of teams up with Mark's sister, who is Corinne DeSantis, played by Jenny McShane, who we may well talk about further on in this episode.
Yeah, she would go on to earn her place in B-movie history as the recipient of John Barrowman's legendary pussy-eating line in Shark Attack 3.
Yeah, well, let's eat pussy a little bit later on. But Corinne DeSantis, Jenny McShane, the actress who plays it, she I think she's in US SEALs the year after, but she's done a lot of uncredited stuff, hasn't she? She was uncredited in Albert Pune's Ticker, uncredited in Ringo Lam's Replicant. It's kind of like a middling, nearly, but not quite kind of career.
Yeah, I don't really think in terms of career she ever went on to do anything that shook the earth.
No. But in terms of storyline, so we're Deep Blue Sea light, essentially.
Yeah.
Do you think that harms it? Do you think they should have, maybe moved away from the whole Deep Blue Sea thing and just gone all out for, mutant sharks causing havoc with less of an explanation, less of a storyline?
I like the whole Deep Blue Sea light kind of angle to it, and I think where it really it's strange because where Shark Attack really starts to get bogged down in is that the sharks then become secondary to this sort of land grab plot that Ernie Hudson's character is spearheading. However, the weird thing about that is that as kind of dull and tepid that aspect of the story is, Ernie Hudson is far and away the most interesting character in Shark Attack. He's the guy who adds the B-movie colour and the B-movie flavour to it. This sort of over-the-top performance. it's very moustache-twirling villain.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he comes full circle, doesn't he? I mean, he starts off the sort of affable kind of, cuddle, well, maybe not cuddly, but, likeable character initially, and you think, yeah, okay, that's cool, but then he, of course, goes over to the dark side with Dr. Miles Craven. Miles Craven, of course, played by Bentley Mitchum, grandson of Robert and son of Chris, and brother-in-law of Caspar Van Dien. So it's a real family affair, this one. Miles Craven is kind of Bondish character, isn't he? I think it was a bit too cardboard cutout for me.
The only real sort of takeaway you have from him as a character is that he's a chain smoker.
Yeah.
That seems to be the only sort of hook. It's not that Bentley Mitchum's bad; he's just not got really much material to work with. I would like to say Bentley Mitchum, you will recognise him as one of the greasers in one of my personal favourite Stephen King based movies. Sometimes They Come Back. He plays one of the supernatural antagonists in that. And of course, Mitchum had just worked with Van Dien and Shark Attack's director Bob Mizurowski beforehand on Mizurowski's On the Border.
See, that's a film I really like. I saw it again last night, and it's a great, sweaty, really sweaty Western noir. Western noir, very much in vogue, very hip. It's a hipster expression, and really just echoes my
general hip demeanour,
without doubt. Because I know that Criterion. Wow, we're mentioning Criterion on our show. Criterion are currently running a Western noir season on their channel.
I didn't know that.
They are, and they've picked about 12 films to show.
Of which On the Border is not one of them.
Funnily enough, now you should mention it. No, it's not. But I must admit that if you fancy seeing pretty much the same crew, including the DP, Lawrence Sher, the music guy, Serge Colbert, as well as Bentley Mitchum, Caspar Van Dien, and of course Mizurowski, then they're all the crew on the Border, which is well worth checking out. But Bob Mizurowski is kind of our guy, really, isn't he? Because we've covered a number of his films for our book, Schlock and Awe. We've done Blink of an Eye, which he did back in '92, as well as Point of Impact, which was, I think it was retitled for Hollywood DVD over here, Spanish Rose.
Yeah.
Both with Michael Parry, who I know you've got a poster of him looking down on me here. It's like your temple for which you pray at.
Temple for Parry.
It's covered in flowery ornaments and stuff.
Temple for blandness.
And a mat for which you kneel upon. No, you're not a Michael Parry fan. And then he went on to do Blood of the Innocent in '94 with Thomas Ian Griffith, which is good. Before, I think he went on to Panic, was it, in 2002?
And he did Panic for New Image, Deranged with Van Damme for New Image's offshoot Millennium. He's a good, by and large, Bob Mizrowski is a sturdy and dependable set of hands, and I think that is the best way of looking at Shark Attack.
Yeah.
It is sturdy, dependable. It ain't going to set your world on fire, but it's a journeyman film from a journeyman director. Yeah, the root of it is in the sense that the film is so pitched between Jaws and Deep Blue Sea, but it just never gets out of that rut. The script, it's well written insofar as it's serviceable, workmanlike, mechanical. Written by Scott Devine and William Hook, who are basically the mainstays of the Shark Attack franchise.
Yeah.
They'd go on to write Shark Attack 2 and Shark Attack 3 Megalodon.
That's a rarity, isn't it? I mean, no other franchise had that.
It's, I think Adam Gierash and Jace Anderson had a hand in like Spiders 2 and Crocodile 2, but these guys, these were the architects of the entire series. They did, of course, as we mentioned in the opening sort of strokes of this episode, that Avi Lerner conceptualised the film in 1995. Devine actually went to Lerner when he found out that we were nudging a shark film into production after Deep Blue Sea, and pitched him the story for Shark Attack, which was originally called Red Tide. Yeah. And before Van Dien was involved, it was set to star Michael Biehn, who he had to bow out due to scheduling conflicts. And a thing that I do think does warrant discussion about it, considering Bentley Mitchum's involvement, and this will make a whole lot of sense now, is that as part of Van Dien's contract, he actually had casting approval.
Right.
Yeah, he got paid. He got paid $1 million to appear in it, and was given casting approval.
Wow.
And that came straight from the mouth of Jenny McShane in an interview she gave with the Bristol Bad Film Club.
Wow.
So yeah, but there's some half decent stuff in there. As we said, the shark footage is, the stock stuff's well utilised. It's not out of place.
No.
If you can compare it to, well, we're recording this episode on the day we're doing the commentary for Moon and Scorpio for 88 Films' slasher range, and there is some horrific Vietnam stock footage in that film that sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah. Whereas the shark stuff in Shark Attack, it works. No. It complements the sort of kind of janky mechanical head that's used. Yeah, there's some good stuff in Shark Attack, though, albeit in a very average way. There's a few, a nice boat chase, a couple of explosions. The finale's kind of exciting and action-packed. Yeah. The stock footage is well utilised. What I do want to know, though, in terms of the shark effects footage, is, well, are they real dead sharks that Mitchum's character
They're so realistic, aren't they? Jesus.
Yeah, because if they're not, they look incredibly lifelike and real, beyond the point of them being just a good special effect. No. If they are real, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. They might be dead, but
yeah, but even so.
Yeah, you're still poking around in shark guts. I don't know how I feel about that ethically, morally, spiritually. Maybe it just doesn't feel right for my soul.
That's pretty grim.
It's just kind of bad juju. But the mechanical shark, the animatronic shark supervisor was a guy named Anton Cronje. And the special effects supervisor was a chap by the name of Gavin Meaden, who worked on New Image's Cyborg Cop 2 and Shadow Chaser 2. And it's used sparingly, and it is a little hawky looking, but guess what? So's fucking Jaws. Jaws is really kind of hawky looking. And
everyone turns off.
Well, no, I don't mean that as a slam. I love Jaws. It doesn't take... The hawkiness of the shark in Jaws, just like in Shark Attack, doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the Shark Attack sequences. And in Shark Attack, one of the few things that it does right, that does almost elevate it to the point of a good movie, is that the fake shark does serve a purpose dramatically. It elicits the right emotional responses from you. You get a little jump, you get a little wince, and it is savage. Yeah. But, as I'm sure we'll mention on Shark Attack 2, there's not enough shark attacks in Shark Attack 1 to justify it being called Shark Attack, and the whole film is so routine and mechanical that it just feels that anything we say it should be kept in mind that it's feigned praise at best.
So you like the South African aspect, don't you?
Yes.
I don't. I'm a huge fan of the new image stuff, late 90s, be it Warhead and Armstrong and all that kind of stuff. But I do like the Bulgaria era a lot. Especially, I just think it fits the whole creature feature thing. But that's one thing I missed with this. But you think that it fits?
Yeah, that's one of the strongest suits of Shark Attack is the exotic South African local. It was filmed in Port Alfred in South Africa.
Yeah.
And they actually got a disclaimer at the end credits saying that although it had been retitled Port Amanzi in the film, they put this disclaimer at the end of Shark Attack that says that the real Port Alfred doesn't suffer from shark attacks, in case obviously you watch this movie and don't ever want to go there fearing that some stock footage sharks will attack you.
Never know.
But no, I like the local colour of it.
Yeah.
I think it's got a great tropicality. I love the sun-kissed look to it, and I think that's really great. It was made at the time that New Image was starting to slow down production over in South Africa. Originally, that is where the company was set up. Avi and Danny Lerner owned the New Metro Theatres, the theatre chain over in South Africa, and they sold that to form New Image. And so all through the 90s, they pretty much just made all their movies in South Africa for the video market. And then, it was round about 2000, 2001 time they sort of relocated over to Bulgaria. I do think it suits Shark Attack. It has a nice vibe to it. It gives it a nice... it works well alongside Crocodile with that whole sun-kissed vibe.
It's shot well, isn't it? I mean, you got the DP as Lawrence Sher, who went on to be Todd Phillips' right-hand man, shooting everything from Hangover 1 to Hangover 2 to Hangover 3.
Yeah.
And something called Joker, which apparently is quite popular amongst the cool kids. Not that we know these kind of things.
And his creature feature form extends to Godzilla, King of the Monsters, from last year as well. It is a well-shot movie.
Yes.
I think especially the underwater stuff is really, really good.
Yeah.
But that's it. There's not much really to sort of pin on Shark Attack. It's just okay.
Yeah, it's one of those films that you sort of... The credits roll and you're faced with sort of chatting about it for a period of time, and once you summarise it, there's not a lot more to say, really, other than the fact it's got a really bad synopsis on the DVD case. We've got the Boulevard edition from about 2008, I think, one of those slimline, I don't know, our American listeners might not be too familiar with these, but these were a company called Boulevard, which used to do these slimline cases of budget DVDs, and they're all right. They fill a gap, but they're really cheaply produced, and it's got the most badly worded synopsis on the back that you could ever possibly imagine.
I think that's the thing with Shark Attack. It's more interesting for its place in creature feature history, well, in direct-to-video creature feature history, than it is as an actual movie. In terms of creature feature carnage, it's all right.
Yeah.
There's most of the stuff is rendered through the use of stock footage and a very fleetingly glimpsed giant shark head, and it's well put together and stuff like that. But I think it reminds me, this is the creature feature equivalent of something like Jagmundra's Night Eyes. This is to creature features what Jagmundra's Night Eyes is to the direct-to-video erotic thriller.
It's a really good analogy.
Because Shark Attack, as we said in the in our little preamble, that this is the one that inspired New Image to make a whole slew of these pictures based upon the strength of its pre-sales.
Yeah.
And also, in terms of distribution, Shark Attack is iconic because it landed on British shores just as DVD was really, really starting to take off. It was released on video and DVD via Trimark in America on the 9th of November 1999, so 3.5 months after Deep Blue Sea opened in cinemas. So, no shame in it that it was 100% a Deep Blue Sea rip-off. But over here in England, it hit video in autumn 1999, but it's most famous for its ubiquitous DVD releases.
Right.
You know, from Hollywood DVD. This, for a long time, this Shark Attack was one of the sort of films where you would buy a DVD player, and if you were lucky, you'd get a bunch of films bundled in free with it.
Amazing.
Shark Attack was always one of them. Shark Attack was on the shelves of pound shops. It was one of the first readily available bargain discs.
Oh, yeah.
So back in the early 90s, when people were trying to increase their DVD collection, Shark Attack was an easy pickup, and that's why it ended up making so much money, because it was fucking everywhere. And that's the thing. If you ask people who have copies of Shark Attack, none of them can relay the goddamn plot. No one can tell you any of the intricacies of what actually went on. And most people, like us, tend to agree that it's not bad, it's okay. A lot of people dismiss it and decry it as the worst thing ever made, but it's not. It's just overwhelmingly average.
You're listening to Natural Selection, the home of the DTV Creature Feature.
What kind of media coverage we could get with a great white?
No one's ever been able to keep a great white alive in captivity.
Capturing a great white?
It's a piece of cake.
So how is our star attraction?
Well, we're not out of the woods yet.
Let's give them something for the evening news.
Close the gate!
Nick!
They're growing at an accelerated level and hunting in packs. There's no telling how dangerous they're going to get.
Get out of the water, shark!
What the fuck happened out there?
The sharks attacked us from every angle. I was lucky to get out of there alive. Somebody has to end this.
Why you?
If I walk away and somebody else dies, I don't know if I could live with myself.
The underwater cave where they've been hanging out.
It's big enough to hold them all. Get them in there and wipe them out.
Underwater demolition explosives. Should be enough to turn those bastards into a bloody shark smoothie.
Shark Attack 2 there. This I liked. I liked a lot more.
This is more like it, isn't it? This is the stuff.
This was the kind of low-grade Jaws rip-off that I signed up for when we did this. Because it is. It just... This works for me. It's outrageously ridiculous, but it's so entertaining, and it really is the kind of shark movie that I can buy into.
Yeah, this is the one that this fits alongside Crocodile, Spiders, all that stuff. It's got the same over-the-top, silly. It knows it's a B movie, and it's just going to have fun with it. And this is If you want a film called Shark Attack, this is the film that you want that film to be. Shark Attack 2 is vastly, vastly superior to the original movie.
Yeah. I mean, it hooks you in from the start. You got that gorgeous opening shot, that wide shot across the ocean. Is that Table Mountain maybe in the distance? Possibly. But, well, the quality of the DVD was so much better than 1 and 3. And I bought into that because it really did pop. But yeah, just the opening shot, and then you've got not 1, not 2, but 3 shark attacks in the first 13 minutes.
Yeah,
because that's proper. If you rent a film or you buy a film called Shark Attack, you want shark attacks.
Yeah, you don't want it to get.
Apologies to be too simplistic about this.
But you're right. You don't want it to get bogged down in a land deal like the first one did, regardless of the fact that it's got Ernie Hudson in, twirling his tash and smoking cigars and just having a wonderful time.
That only gets you so far.
Yes, but this was very much a decision from the director David Worth.
Right.
Worth, a very cool guy. He is a real icon. You know, he was inspired to become a filmmaker after seeing Citizen Kane. A cinematographer, writer, director, just a real jack of all trades.
Porn.
Of course.
Sorry,
well,
that's my Tourette kicking in again.
I tell you, I know we mentioned it in the last segment about us recording Moon and Scorpio today, but the comparisons between David Worth's career and Moon and Scorpio's director Gary Graves' career is uncanny.
It's freaky. You've got amazing porn films like Pink Champagne from '79. You got unbelievable exploitation films like Poor Pretty Eddie from 1975.
What a movie that is! Yeah.
Amazing film. And then you've got like proper top quality high end 90s DTV films like Chain of Command with Michael Dudikoff. And also Prophet's Game, which I really am a big fan of.
Oh, with Dennis Hopper.
Seven rip-off, which is cool, and I've got notes on that. I must write up for the Shock Pit.
Well, with Worth, he very famously stated that he generally takes any assignment that comes across his desk, which I'm sure that's a point of ridicule for many, but to you and I, that's, you know, he's a wonderful, wonderful journeyman talent, a real craftsman, and again, hell of a spread of credits, because on top of all that, he's worked with Eastwood, he's worked with Joe Dante, he's worked with Jean-Claude Van Damme as cinematographer of Bloodsport and as the director of Kickboxer. Though I do feel we have to point out that Kickboxer's producer Mark DeSalle actually shafted David Worth out of his directorial credit. He made him take a co-director's credit with him. But Worth was offered Shark Attack 2 by New Image, and he said he liked shark films and he felt that he could make a better and more exciting Shark Attack movie than the first one, with, crucially, bigger and better shark attacks. And also he wanted to go to South Africa.
Why not?
As he said in an interview with Bristol Bad Film Club again.
Right.
We're pillaging them this afternoon. So thank you guys if any of you are listening.
They're on Twitter.
They're
work. Good site. It's fascinating. And he was true to his word. Because what he wanted, it ends up on the film. And it's great. It's a really different premise as well to the first one, isn't it? There's none of this real, land purchasing nonsense.
Yeah, there's no property deals and anything like that.
It's a good old-fashioned thing where we have a shark in an aquarium. It's the old famous quote, the shark's in the aquarium, he's not going to go anywhere. But hey, that doesn't quite turn out that way. Dara is Torsten Kay, plays Dr. Nick Harris. Torsten, bit of a soap star, isn't he?
Yeah.
Bold and Beautiful, 1,000 episodes, hardcore. But he's all right in this.
His performance is basically, I mean, the general storyline of Shark Attack 2 is basically all four Jaws films flung into a blender. And if you don't like the sound of that, I really don't know what else to say to you. But you could actually make Shark Attack 2 by piecing together the same scenes from all four Jaws films. And his character is basically just an amalgamation of Dennis Quaid's in Jaws 3 and Roy Scheider's in the first two Jaws films. Yeah,
and he's a marine biologist, of course.
And they all.
They were, so this mutated shark escapes from Cape Town's theme park, Waterworld, and joins this group of sharks, like
the offspring of the sharks from the first movie, which is given a token nod, but really it's a completely standalone story, and it's all the better for it.
Yeah, but they got this new aquarium opening, and this shark is obviously a massive threat to that, so he needs help, and he decides to join forces with Aussie Shark Hunter. Roy Bishop, played by Dan Metcalf.
Whose accent is to Australia what Dick Van Dyke's is to Cockney. I am fairly sure that the man hasn't so much as ever drank a Foster's, let alone met an Australian person.
This was his first year in features, and it shows.
Yeah,
but that's all right, because he was in Isaac Eaton's really, really underrated film Shadow Hours with Peter Weller.
Oh yeah, that's a
good film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he not the best accent, but it's a great character with this open.
There's colour to it.
Yeah,
isn't there? There's
he's a bit of a Crocodile Dundee mixed with Indiana Jones.
Steve Irwin, I think, was the
Steve Irwin as well.
this was round about the time of Crocodile Hunter and all that was becoming very, very popular on TV. So I think it was very much, and the guy's got this character's got his own extreme animal type show and stuff like that. So it's undoubtedly a little wink and a nod towards Steve Irwin.
And we also have Samantha Peterson there, who is intent on putting an end to this nightmare because it killed her sister. And she reckons they're looking for a shark with one eye because she knows that as she took it out when she was trying to save her sister's life. Takes balls.
Personal mission of vengeance against a shark. Tech wise, I think Worf has got a background in cinematography.
Yeah.
He'd go on to not only direct but shoot Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. One of them, the way it's shot is probably one of the best things about it, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But Shark Attack 2 just looks fabulous. The original Shark Attack, it did have good technical polish, but ultimately a lot of the compositions, and I don't know whether this is retrospectively looking at it, because Shark Attack became somewhat famous as a TV movie, even though it was released straight to video and DVD in America before it even played on TV. But a lot of the compositions in the first Shark Attack do seem very TV friendly. It's very up close, which gives it a certain minor degree of intensity, but it's not cinematic, whereas Shark Attack 2 just looks fabulous. Like Worf is just, a lot of the time he's painting with the frame. He just knows how to stage the actors and the action within a widescreen frame to make the best damn B movie he can.
Yeah, but who's he got? Who's he got doing that for him? The man, the myth, the monster.
Yossi
Veen, icon of Millennium Films' new image. And he knows how to do this shit.
Yeah,
I mean this is his forte, and he does a great job. I mean he can do this in his sleep, and he's great. And also got Eric Raz editing, who went on to, of course, do so many films with Isaac Florentine, so they know when to cut it to. So just technically, they've got the A listers.
He's got a hell of a crew backing him up and that. A very luxurious schedule for as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this was a 6-week shoot.
Wow.
Shark Attack 2. They did 4 weeks in Cape Town, and then they moved over to shoot some of the underwater stuff in a pool in Bulgaria.
Right. Okay.
So they did 2 weeks out in Bulgaria.
I did wonder where the Bulgaria aspect came into it. But yeah, I mean, does it? You set up an amalgamation of the 4 Jaws films. I mean, you've even got shots from Jaws.
Yeah.
That you got that great zoom on the beach.
The dolly zoom.
The
Roy Scheider shot.
That's it. Which is pretty much, as is. No apology. But do we mind that? Do we care?
Because Worf's having fun with the material. Yeah. He knows that.
But that's the kind of thing that makes people angry, though, isn't it?
Oh, no, because with things like that, if it's done ironically, if it's done as like, oh, look how smart and meta-referential we are. But this is written by 2 guys who have really got into the swing of it. Devine and Hook, they know full well that this is an amalgamation of Jaws.
Yeah.
Worf knows that it's just, he wanted to make a giddy shark movie. That's what he's doing. So he's paying tribute to the best. He's playing around with shark movie lineage and iconography, and that's cool. I thought I giggled when we had the Jaws shot.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff he does in here, I do think in its way it does rival Jaws. There's the beach massacre just under an hour in. That is a beautifully done sequence. It's exciting. There's a splash of gore. You got Harris belting around on a fucking jet ski, which is just absolutely priceless.
Yeah.
And the mix of shark stock footage and practical stuff again. The way that they've done that this time around, it's just catnip, man. It's just like direct to video catnip.
We're gonna give a shout out to Danny Key or Keogh. What'd you say? Keogh. I'm gonna go with Keogh too. Yeah. Who plays Michael Francisco, the resort owner. He does the immortal line, you want to shut down the beaches?
Yeah.
Perfect fit for the film. You know him, of course. He played Herb Diamond in The Mangler. He died last year, unfortunately, at 71 in Uganda. But he's a good fit for this film.
Yeah, he's another New Image bit parter. You know, he pops up in Shadow Chaser 2 and a couple of Operation Delta Force sequels. But yeah, that feeds into the Jaws homagery.
Yeah.
You know, and as well as him not wanting to shut down the beach, you've got the Harris character who. As a kid, he survived an attack by a 9-foot tiger shark. So that, of course, leads to the whole Jaws scar sharing bit. You know, as he parades the scar on his belly off. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in Shark Attack 2. The shark attacks are great. The tiger growls and lion roars to the sharks. I think they seem to be a point of ridicule when you look around IMDb and stuff like that. But you know, is it silly? Yes, but when you dwell on it, it's completely ridiculous. But when you're caught up in the moment, it does add a certain degree of ferocity to the shark attacks, which the first film was lacking. The shark cage sequence with the Aussie guys, sublime, you know, and I say Aussie, air quotes, never have they been more accurate. But the effects are a hell of a lot better this time out as well. You know, and they were achieved by, there was a 25-foot dummy shark that could be used, or in Worth's words, dragged in the water, and he ordered them to make 3 shark fins that could be operated by divers, and 2 articulated shark heads with a biting action that could be puppeteered by stuntmen. Worth said it was a very, very piecemeal process coming up with the action scenes, and that they all came together in editing using a mixture of often all 3 of the puppet heads, of the dummy, and of the fins, and of course the stock footage. But it doesn't show it. As you say, the editing is so fast and on point. It's just good. It is a quality little B picture. Yeah.
Do we know how it did on tape, on DVD? Or did it just sort of... what was it shot back to back with the first one? How close were they made, you know?
Shark Attack, so that sold at the American film market in 1999, and by the end of 1999 they were developing like a slate. They were developing the Crocodile Octopus Spider slate, and in that slate Shark Attack 2 was there. So it you know, the second Shark Attack sold, a sequel was getting knocked up. It didn't go straight to video though. It premiered on TV, and I think this is where the idea that Shark Attack #1 was a TV movie comes from. Right. Where it was actually Shark Attack 2 that premiered on TV. It played as part of Critter Week on the USA Network alongside Spiders, Octopus and Crocodile between the 9th and 13th of October 2000. Right. And then it hit video in the US on the 13th of February the following year, 2001. And it didn't come over here until summer 2002. Here in the UK. But again, like the first Shark Attack, it became quite an ubiquitous title. It was a perennial in the bargain bins of Blockbuster and Global and stuff.
Why is that? Do you think that's because the people invariably see a shark-themed movie, and because Jaws is so heavily ingrained into your psyche, people just feel compelled to buy anything shark-themed, and then, you know, unwittingly they get it home, give it a spin, not their bag, off it goes into the charity shop. Do you think that's the kind of mentality behind why it's such a perennial sort of charity shop, cash converter, CEX kind of film?
I mean, the cynic in me is tempted just to think that people buy it expecting that, it's going to be Jaws-like, and it's not. Oh, this is crap, I'll get rid of this. But I have no idea what it was about Shark Attack 1 and 2 that really caught the zeitgeist, other than the fact that the DVDs were produced so cheaply and in such large numbers that they just pretty much became property in everyone's house. You know, I think maybe it was the fact that the first film was dished out as, with some DVD players, and then obviously the second one rides that wave, doesn't it? That people are like, oh, well, I've got the first one, I might as well get the second one. But at the dawn of DVD, well, not even the dawn, because when did DVD come out? 98, 99, something like that? Over here, anyway. But back then, everything was a premium title. You know, everything was about £20. You were lucky to get something for £15. So to go into a shop and to see something like Shark Attack 1 and 2 for $5.99, if you're wanting to build up your collection,
fill
fill your boots. But I don't know what it is. They caught a certain degree of popularity, Shark Attack 1 and 2, and number 3 to a certain extent, as we'll get on to. But Shark Attack 2, though it's not perfect. The whole theme park owner subplot just sort of falls by the wayside about an hour in. It's never sort of resolved. But no, it's good. It's a good, lively movie.
You're listening to Natural Selection, the home of the DTV Creature Feature.
People pay a lot of money to come down here. They expect to use everything, including the beaches.
You cannot let people swim in the water when there's a shark out there! We've got a shark heading for the shore. Get everyone out of the water now! Shark swimming off our coast. It's not going to go away.
Right, Fidel. Ancestor of the great white shark. It's supposed to be extinct.
You lied to me?
7 men dead. You knew something was dangerous down there and you let them dive anyway.
They knew it was risky.
Bull fucking shit!
We want something powerful enough that we're not missing. It'll blow a hole clear to the hull of a battleship. Come on.
That was the trailer for Shark Attack 3 Megalodon from 2002, which is a film that's kind of renowned for a line rather than, what the film is in general. I mean, we'll get to the line later. But as a film, it's a fair Shark Attack movie, isn't it, really, that's been unfairly kind of...
it's just it's got this reputation as like one of the great archetypal so bad it's good type films. I'm not sure how I feel about that term anymore. It's kind of lost all meaning in the years since The Room and Neil Breen's sort of stuff has redefined the parameters of what truly bad filmmaking is. I'm still in favour of it as a concept, though, because there is a beauty within so-called badness, especially when a film is earnestly made but kind of stupid and lousy at the same time and entertaining because of it. I've said it before, though, it's Sharknado and all that kind of crap that really made me start to hate the whole so bad it's good thing. Because I just hate the irony. I hate ironic, bad... Yeah, and intentional. Oh, look how snarky we're being about the material. But yeah, I wouldn't really say Shark Attack 3 is a bad or awful movie. To me, bad movies are things like The Room, Manos, The Hands of Fate, Blood Feast is my all-timer, my go-to so bad it's good movie.
Yeah.
If anything, Shark Attack 3 is just kind of overwhelmingly average and kind of boring.
The only reason it's got this reputation is because it's had some publicity.
Yeah.
People have watched it that would never ever watch it. And so it's just been sort of thrust into the limelight. Whereas if it didn't have any publicity, nobody would really know of it. And it's only got this reputation because of certain aspects of its infamy.
I mean, because most of that stuff, it doesn't happen until well after the hour mark.
Oh yeah.
It's not a lot happens for the first hour, but all the stuff with with the kind of hokey shark head effects, eating boats and stuff, the infamous line.
Yeah,
that's all from about the hour mark in.
Yeah, I mean, prior to that, it's fairly easy to segue from number 2 into number 3 because we've got the same director back in David Worth. We've got, as you said earlier on, the same writers in Scott Devine and William Hook. So we're pretty much same old, albeit in the fact that we have a completely new set of characters and a new
and a new
shark.
sort of setup. I think what you need to know about Shark Attack 3 is that it was designed to cash in on a couple of forthcoming attractions at the time. So in 1997, 2 books were published. One was Steve Alton's novel Meg, and another was something called Extinct by Charles Wilson. Meg, of course, was stuck in development hell for about 20 years until it was finally made to the screen with John Turteltaub and Jason Statham a couple of years ago as the Meg.
Yeah.
But until then, it had been in and out of various stages of development and production since 1998. I think at the time of Shark Attack 3, Jan de Bont was attached to direct an adaptation of Meg. Before Guillermo del Toro, Eli Roth, who we're probably going to have to censor now as he's now been cancelled earlier today because there's
really?
Honest to God, man, look on Twitter, there's some grim stuff about that bastard coming out. You know, and it is what's frightening. It's the least surprising information imaginable when you look at the sort of frat boy dickheads who populate the narratives of his films, which I have admittedly enjoyed on occasion, even though I personally think he's quite a reprehensible guy.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. So Guillermo del Toro and Eli Roth were all in contention to adapt it before John Turteltaub and Jason Statham took it on. And Extinct, Wilson's novel, was in development for a very long time at NBC, where they were going to turn it into a mini-series.
Right.
Coupled in with that, Gary Tunnicliffe, the effects man who worked on a couple of Hellraiser sequels, he was co-writing and directing a film called Megalodon at the same time that Shark Attack 3 was shooting as well, and that too was designed to cash in on the sort of hype surrounding the upcoming adaptations of Extinct and Meg. So for whatever reason, that it was very much in the zeitgeist, the idea of this Megalodon. So, and the story, it turns out that baby Megalodon breaks free, terrorises a small beach town or whatever. They kill that shark, and only guess what? That was just the baby. And now Mama is pissed off.
I mean, we got this weird group of people in Shark Attack 3, haven't we? I mean, we have Jenny McShane back, playing a different character, playing Kat Stone.
That was done intentionally, though, by the way. They wanted her... The New Image had, in fact, wanted both Van Dien and her back for number 2, but they both passed on it.
Right.
And for number 3, they got back in touch with her, and she said she'd do it, but obviously not playing the same character.
Right. That's bizarre.
Just very strange. But they knew... Here's the thing, right? New Image were canny enough to realise that Shark Attack did have something of an audience. Because they, according to McShane, the actual pitch to her was that we want you to be the touchstone for the fans.
Right. Okay.
Which is insane, because we tend to think of New Image as a very mercenary operation, not giving a crap about what the fans think. They're making product. So kind of strange.
It is strange, but then John Barrowman is strange. I mean, why is John Barrowman in this film?
Well, this was before he was Barrowman.
No, but even so, I mean, he's a kids' TV presenter of Live and Kickin', which I used to watch as a kid. He's a show tune singer. And he wants to break into acting. I mean, to be honest, I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who in my life, but I did watch Torchwood because it was pretty good. But it's a bizarre thing, him being in this film. It is a bit weird. I'm not sure if it really fits it.
I used to hate John Barrowman. I thought he was just quite simply repellent. Just really loud, obnoxious, annoying. And I think it was because I didn't watch Doctor Who, but post Doctor Who, he was fucking everywhere.
He was,
He was just like, you couldn't turn the TV on without him popping up and belting out a show tune. But I have warmed to him in the last few years. Yeah, I think it was around about the time he was on I'm a Celebrity. He just came across as a really sound and quite an easygoing bloke. Yeah. Because he wasn't performing for the cameras.
True.
And now one of the greatest things about Shark Attack 3, and I have no shame in admitting this, is I think he submits a really bloody good performance.
He is good in this, but my only issue with him is that when he found fame with Torchwood, or Infamy, and his multi-million selling albums, every talk show he would go on, be it Jonathan Ross or whoever, they would say, "Oh, John, we're going to show you this clip from when you first started out as an actor." And out would come the clip of Sharknado 3. We'll play it now.
From Shark Attack 3.
And here is the infamous clip.
We'll meet back here at 8 a.m. Don't be late.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too, but, I'm really wired. What do you say I take you home and eat your pussy?
And there we go. Because this, it just got trolled out every single time that he was on any kind of show. It was like, oh, ha ha ha, look at this. Isn't it funny?
Isn't this the most outlandish thing you've ever heard? but here's the thing, right? That other than that bit and the Duff shark head effects at the end, as we said, none of this occurs until round about the hour mark. When people call Shark Attack 3 so bad it's good, it's not intentionally funny enough to be bad. Other than the famous bits, it's just more boring than anything. And because that first hour is a slog. It doesn't really pick up until until the boat attack on Barrowman and McShane about 55 minutes in. That is a great sequence when McShane blows the shark's head open with a shotgun. And then it's capped with the moment where the big shark's even bigger man just flies out the water. And that's when it really kicks into gear. But before then, it's just kind of it's well shot. It's reasonably well edited and stuff like that. But it just kind of freewheels.
No, I agree with that. I think for me it was just before that moment with a shotgun. I think it was just to see sort of a camp John Barrowman, battering a rubber shark with a baseball bat underwater. I thought, this is what.
While screaming, "Die!" Repeat, "Die!"
Exactly. I mean, that was why I was there, to be honest. We haven't really mentioned what it's about. I mean, not that it's relevant in any way, but it's just the fact that Kat finds a tooth. And then she scans it, and she's a paleontologist at the San Diego Museum. She scans it into her high-tech scanning machine, and that comes online and matches it with nothing. And then she ends up going to Mexico, where
Bulgaria masquerading as Mexico.
Really? I thought it was Mexico. I thought it was Cancun, where Barrowman is harbour patrol guy, isn't he, for a resort of some kind. And then obviously one thing leads to another. But the plot is very much secondary to
utter bobbins. Utter bobbins. I think the best summation is big shark, bigger shark. That's really kind of it, and it's just sort of it's quite fitting in a sense, really, that like the Shark Attack trilogy, it's one really, really good movie in Shark Attack 2, bookended by two very workmanlike things either side of it.
Not unrecommendable. But not necessarily, must-haves.
Like I wouldn't not recommend them, but I wouldn't recommend them either.
No.
I just wouldn't speak about them until maybe someone came to me and said,
until someone put a microphone on the table and said, go.
Like this. Like we're only doing this because we had to cover the movie. We're not particularly enamoured or personally invested with them.
Doesn't it have a bizarre parallel with Octopus, in that you start in a submarine and then you end with a cruise ship? It's not really a cruise ship.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, David, I have a confession to make.
Oh.
A fun fact, if you will, or a confession, however you want to see it. But I've never seen Shark Attack's final 4 minutes.
Wow.
Never ever seen them. My DVD cuts off at 86 minutes every fucking time, and I've just never been asked enough about the film to buy another copy. So that final 4 minutes, that could completely upend the movie. It could turn it into something brilliant. But I've never, in in the 10 years since I've had it on DVD, I've never ever seen the end of Shark Attack 3.
But that does say a lot about your feelings for the film, and that you will not part with £1 to see the final 4 minutes of Shark Attack 3.
Because I just do not care enough about
Wow.
it. So I don't even know. I don't even know who the end credits are. I don't even know who's on. If I didn't IMDb it, I wouldn't know a thing about the credits. But yeah, I just think it's funny. It cuts off at the same point, just as when the guy, what's the guy with the coolest name, Chuck Rampart, that guy, when he leans into the water to pick McShane up from off the boat, the screen goes pixelated, and that's it.
We must mention Buddy Bother again, because he's graduated to SFX supervisor for this film. I just feel as though it's like a drinking game that people could, maybe have a natural selection marathon and take a shot for every time I mention Willy Bother.
The New Image episode, Willy Bother.
Scott Coulter as well was doing some effects work on the film. Scott Coulter, of course, began life with MMI, John Beekler's
iconic
company. He used to work on Solid Driller, Ghost Town, Spellcaster. He did FX work on Gary Graver's Evil Spirits as well, which he had about a week's prep time to do.
Wow.
And had to put everything together really, really quickly. And I think he did second unit on Octopus 2 as well. But yeah, a really good FX guy that really does deserve a mention.
I will say though that once again, if you're listening to it, guys, thank you from the Bristol Bad Film Club. Amazing outfit.
This episode is sponsored by
the interview they had with Worth and McShane are both fantastic.
Really?
Like the one with Worth is incredible. He goes into so much detail, not just about Shark Attack 2 and 3, but about Kickboxer, Bloodsport. It really is. It's everything you want to know about David Worth. But Worth, he hates the biting head inserts and hates the fact that he was unable to supervise the film's ADR music and final sound mix over in LA as he was sent back to Bulgaria to film Airstrike for New Image. So he is on record as being very unhappy with the FX work, and I believe he's once described Shark Attack 3 as like he can't even watch it anymore. It's unwatchable to him.
I'm wondering though if you are David Worth and you were 76 years old and you were sitting at home in LA and you're thinking, I'm going to look back on a few of my films. I wonder like where down the listing Shark Attack 3 would come, because I think alongside Kickboxer and Poor Pretty Eddie, I don't think you'd be really much inclined to dig that one out, to be honest, on your old Boulevard DVD.
the cuts off 4 minutes before it's over.
Yeah, but I might be wrong. He might have that on the top of his pile.
We should say that there is an unofficial Shark Attack 4 called Shark Zone, directed by Danny Lerner, but we do not consider it part of the Shark Attack canon. If you have a problem with that, that's your issue, not ours. It's not part of the series. Just as really Tibor Takacs's Spiders 3D isn't. I wouldn't say it's part of the Spiders continuum.
No.
Just as Cyborg Soldier isn't part of the Cyborg Cop continuum.
Any more?
No, that's it for New Image. We could go on to I could go on to my Carnosaur theory, but we'll save that for another time because Raptor and the Eden formula do sort of count as Carnosaurs.
Of course they do. But you can read all about that on the Schlock Pit anyway. Our wonderful website, www. Can you? No? Yes, you can. Can you?
Yeah, there's Raptor and Eden formula on the Schlock Pit.
www.theschlockpit.com, where you can find out all about what we do and stuff, be it podcasts, articles, books, commentaries, and general charity work for the local community.
Also known as 88 Films. We kid, we love you guys.
That's it for today before we get fired. And we'll see you next time. My name is Dave Wayne, and to my right is
Matty Budrevich.
And we'll see you soon
for the final episode.
Ooh.
Laters, guys.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out the Schlock and Awe page on Instagram, while you're welcome to stalk Matty and Dave on Twitter. See you next time on Natural Selection.